along to some magic numbers, starting with the number 3, because that is where it got really special for the Miami Heat last night. Let's jump ahead to the third quarter. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 1. Entering Tuesday, Richard, the Heat plus 68 in the third quarter this postseason. That's the best in the NBA, and we saw that on full display. They'd kick it off with a 5-1 run.
Well, and this is the thing that the Boston Celtics know, that the league knows, that you talk about, like, hey, look, this team comes out in the third quarter. Let's lock in. Let's be focused, because this is what they do. But this, Malika, was unexpected. When you watch these guys come out and play against this, look at that, that's just impressive. And we talked about Bam being the #1 guy.
4 blocks for Bam Adebayo, 12 blocks for the Heat
that
as a
should count
team.
as 2. That's 2 blocks.
Wedgie.
I give him
Wedgie action. Yeah, that's a deep wedgie. All right, now a 16-2 run. Strus. We know you love some Strus, Zach Lowe. Strus. Wow. Okay, so the Strus seals it from Jason Tatum, throws it down on the other end. The Heat, they go on a 22-2 run to start the third quarter.
Okay, Hove.
I mean, my goodness, and this is later in the third, Richard.
Yeah, and look, when everything is rolling, that's just one of the things that you see. But I will talk about this, not having, you know who doesn't have, not having Marcus Smart, not having Al Horford. Me and Perk and JJ were texting before the game. Could they get it done without him? Apparently not.
Well, no. Let's take a listen to them after the game.
I mean, yeah, they came out, gotta give them credit. They played hard. They, played faster in the second half. I think we just kind of went away from what was working in the first half. And that's just something we got to be aware of, on Thursday.
More than anything, it just shows us what we're capable of whenever we worry about getting stops, getting into the open floor, getting to the free throw line, all of those good things. I expect us to be able to do that every quarter from here on out.
Got out tough, out physical. They looked like they came out in the second half, and wanted to up their physicality and aggression on both ends, and they did that.
So this is the deal. It's about the Heat turning it up, but the Celtics, they were also historically bad in the third. They were outscored by 25. They're second worst in any quarter in franchise postseason history. Boston made just 2 of their 15 attempts in the third. That's their worst shooting quarter over the last 4 seasons. I don't want to waste any time here, so I'm gonna try let's just get it, right?
Yeah.
What happened in the third, Richard?
Fatigue. I think there was a fatigue factor, and on top of it, you're shorthanded. So you don't have 2 of your studs. You're coming off a Game 7. Game 7s can be emotional. They can also be draining. And we know that going into that Milwaukee series, that Milwaukee-Boston series, it was neck and neck. You didn't know who was going to win. And I don't think the players did either. So they were exerting themselves to 105%. They got, Marcus Smart is injured. Not injured, but he has to be out a day because these guys were pushing their bodies to the limit. You come in here, you have a great first half, you're focused, but the Miami Heat, they just started to wear on you and wear you down. And ultimately, I think that's what was the difference in the game.
Nah, I'm right there with you, and I'm a piggyback on it because I tweeted after the Celtics beat the Bucks that they didn't have time to celebrate.
Yeah.
Like, you have a quick turnaround, a day in between where you have to travel and get to Miami, a new game plan, all the above, where the Miami Heat had been waiting on them goons from Dade County had been waiting on them at home since Thursday, right? So you look at it, what happened was in the third quarter, one team had their legs and had the juice, and the other team didn't. I don't want to discredit what the Miami Heat did because they came out and did what they were supposed to do on the defensive side of things. But at the end of the day, this is why you don't want to go to Game 7s. This is why you want to handle your business, because you could run into a situation like this where a team is waiting on you. And from a guy that has played 140-plus playoff games, 30-something Game 7s, this is where you put yourself in that position.
Well, I played 0 playoff games, but I still know that a team that was playing 8 guys coming off a 7-game series was missing 2 of those guys. That gets me down to 6 before I go deeper into my bench. That's a problem. But what happened is the Heat happened. The Heat came out of the locker room and said, oh, we were a top 5 defense all year. Here's why. They played with a much greater intensity. Bam was much more into the ball, into the rim protection, and they just took it to the Celtics. Some of these plays that I loved, we're going to look at it. Look, they want the Max Strus switch. Jimmy Butler's just going to sit there in the middle. I'm not giving you that switch. I know what you want. And then he goes back, and there's 2 there. Someone should would be open, but Bam in there can guard 2 guys. It's perfect defense. Jimmy can gamble like that because he knows he's got Bam behind him. And it wasn't just Jimmy. Victor Oladipo, watch this double rotation this guy makes on one play. He's in, and as soon as he sees Jaylen Brown go to pass, he's with the flight of the ball. No shot there for Aaron Nesmith, who played some pretty good minutes. And the same thing again on the same play. To make this rotation twice in like 8 seconds is really hard, and then to throw this thing back in Aaron Nesmith's face, holy smokes. Man. That is a team that came out of the locker room like, we are going to just outwork you and out-effort you and fly around the floor.
And to add on to that point, Zach, that film that you just broke down, Richard, you could contest to this. We drilled that particular drill where guy comes over, sinking field, X on the weak side all day long when you're trying to be tied on the string. And all I saw was communication. That's what championships caliber teams do. They build on communication. On
and even Tyler Hero was ready. Yep. So what happens in that screen is if they do decide to screen Victor Oladipo in, then all of a sudden Tyler Hero goes to the corner and then they X out. So when you look at those, they were in perfect defensive position. They were ready to go. And I'll say this. The Boston Celtics could have gotten away with that type of offensive performance in the Milwaukee series because Milwaukee wasn't an overpowering offensive team when you look at no Middleton, so they were just a little bit shorthanded offensively. Against this Heat team, you're going to need to play that defense and be pretty good on offense, or else it's just going to get evenly or unmatched.
Well, and as you guys said, it wasn't just Boston being awful. This was about Miami.
Yes.
And more specifically, this was about Jimmy Buckets Butler. He was a force in the third. He outscored the Celtics 17-14 by himself. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at this game because Jimmy, he led the Heat to a Game 1 win. Doing all the little things, intercepting Jason Tatum's pass, going down the court, floating it in. This is when it mattered most.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.